So now that we have our background drawn and we have our 30-degree angles button ready, we want the button to actually do something. So again, we said when that sprite is clicked, it's going to broadcast the draw30 message, but what does draw30 actually do? So when that is clicked, we want our pencil sprite to draw all of our 30-degree angles. So when our pencil receives the draw30 message, then we first want to send it to the origin, right in the middle. So we will go to X at 0, Y at 0, and then, oh goodness. So we go to the origin, and then we are going to make our sprite point directly to the right, 90 degrees. Now we need to use our pen to draw all of these lines. So we'll set our pen color to, I'll choose green. And then we are going to put the pen down. So the next thing we want to do is actually draw this line from here, from the origin to the outside of the circle at 0 degrees. And since we're already pointing, it is a little confusing in Scratch because it describes this as 90 degrees because they refer to the top of the circle as 0. So it's important to keep in mind Scratch's version of the angle as compared to ours, but that shouldn't really come into play too much more. So we're pointing in direction 90 degrees. We just want to go from here to here. So we can go ahead and start that already. So we start in the middle and then we put our pen down. We want our sprite to go from here out to here, so we can just make it go 100 steps because that's the radius of our circle. And then after it moves that 100 steps, then we want to send it back in to the middle again. So we can put our pen up just so that we don't get any extra lines. So now we want to go back to the origin at x0, y0. And then we want to put our pen down again. And this time we want to go up here for 30 degrees. So we can make our sprite turn 30 degrees this way to the left because we want to go up. And then we can move 100 steps again. And it should take us from here to here and draw just one of the, draw a radius. So if I click this button, then looks like it worked perfectly. Here, I'll make that bigger so that we can see it. Again, I'll clear it, and then it looks like it drew a line here and here. So that's good. That means we're on the right track. So another thing we want our sprite to do is tell us the number of degrees that we're at so far in the unit circle. So we are going to make a variable and call it angle measure. So I already have it made right here. And we can use that to describe whatever our angle at measure is along here. So what we need to do initially is set our angle measure to 0. So I'm going to do that up here at the top because angle measure right here was 0 degrees. So then once we move that 30 degrees, we want to actually change our angle measure by 30, right? So now it's going to go from 0 to 30, and then eventually as we go on, each time we want it to go up 30 more degrees. So we've moved our 100 steps. Let's put our pen up again. And then we want our sprite to say, you know, angle measure degrees. So we can use the join in there, and then we'll use our angle measure. Okay, so it should say whatever angle measure degrees for 2 seconds. So let's try that again. Oh goodness. So if we start at the beginning. So we want it to send draw 30. So far we just have this 30 degrees. And that's going to end up looking a little differently as we go along. But we also wanted to say the 0 degrees down here. So that's another thing that we can include. I'm just going to copy this block, duplicate, and then we will put it right after we move that 100 steps. So now let's try that again. So this is going to break it up a little bit. Here we go. So now what we could do is just repeat this code over and over, turn 30 degrees, move 100 steps, change our angle measure by 30, blah, blah, blah. But instead of entering that code over and over again, we can use the repeat block to do that for us. So right now it's going to repeat 10 times, but we want to think about how many times we're going through this unit circle. So again, we'll go through it once, but how many 30-degree angles are in there? So if we have 360 degrees in a full circle, we're moving in increments of 30. 360 divided by 30 gives us 12, which means we will want to repeat this 12 times. So let's go ahead and try that out again and see if we just putting this repeat in there, it's going to run this. It changes our angle measure by 30. Then we go up and it'll happen again, and it'll happen again and happen again. So let's give that a try. So we have 0, 30, 60, 90. So it looks like it's working pretty well so far. So we've gotten this part of our task completed, but remember in the unit circle, we not only measure in units of 30 degrees, but we also measure in 45. So what your job is in the assignment is to make another code with a draw 45 message, and you can mostly use the same stuff, but you're going to have to tweak it a little bit to get it to draw in all of the 45-degree angles, just like we just did.